Hey guys, it's Brian here from Full Body Athletics and most importantly, Upgrade Mentality. Today is episode 22 and we're talking about listening. So today we're doing a book review of an article that I wrote back in late September, October, and it's called How to Listen, Discover the Hidden Key to a Better Communication. This is a book review by author by the name of Oscar Trimboli. And Oscar Trimboli is an author that investigates the power of communication, how can we be better communicators, and what are the keys that we must retain in order to be a key communicator. So before continuing on, guys, I want to wish you guys a happy day, a great listening, and let's get to it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So, Oscar Trimboli's How to Listen, Discover the Hidden Key to Better Communication. In our increasingly busy world, the art of true listening is often neglected. People tend to hear words but fail to truly listen to the meanings, emotions, and ideas beneath them. As a result, conversations can be monochromatic, lacking the vibrant technicolor nuances that can be discovered through deep listening. In today's podcast, we take inspiration from Oscar Trimboli's insight on listening and explore the original ideas of how to enhance this vital skill. We aim to ignite your listening ability, transforming it from monotone to a technicolor symphony. In our article, we will review the 5 layers of a good listener, what skills and tricks that can transcend the traditional listening action, and the questions we must ask ourselves to reveal the true powers of deep listening. So, what are the 5 layers, according to Oscar Trimboli, of a good listener? Number 1, obviously yourself. The first layer of a good listener is the ability to control your own impulses. Trimboli says that most people, when they listen to others, are trying to listen to similarities and not differences. When listening for similarities and not differences, we are looking to like the other versus trying to understand the other. He says listening for similarities in an unproductive way shows up most when you are listening with sympathy rather than empathy. When you listen with empathy, you see the world as others see it. You are non-judgmental and you understand another's feelings. Moreover, we want to work first on ourselves by cutting out all outside distractions like music, sounds, and multitasking. By fully engaging ourselves with our communication, by removing the distractions, we become fully engaged with the other and can listen and hear the smallest of nuances. So the first part in any great listener is yourself. You must be able to not only look at similarities when you listen to somebody, but also in differences. Yes, similarities are important for you to understand each other, but differences is what's going to make you understand the other person. Also, for you to be a good listener, you must shut off all distractions. No TikTok, no TVs, no music in the background. You must be all in. And to be a great listener, it has to start from yourself. Number 2 layer, content. To listen to words only is simply not enough. Trimboli explains that the art of listening is one of many depths. He explains that content is seen with your ears, body, and mind. Listening to content is also witnessing one's facial expression and body language and sense. What is the emotion present during the conversation? Furthermore, Trimboli explains that people have communication styles and preferences. They're either detailed, specific, or sequential. Some prefer actions with dates, times, owners, and actions. Some others like other things. We must notice these differences, but also their faces during these explanations and their emotions to fully understand the spectrum of what exactly they are talking about. So Trimboli explains here in content that it's important for us to not just listen to the words of the person, to look at their body, look at their facial expression, look at their tone of voice. What is the emotion that they're trying to get at? These are things that you have to look at in order to become a better communicator. That was content. Now, number 3, context. In this chapter, Trimboli mentions that great listeners explore the backstory and influence how speakers tell their story. What makes us great listeners isn't simply the fact of listening to a story as it's told, but also to understand how did the story come about and its origins. He says like this: something powerful and transformational happens when a speaker says the entire story out loud from the beginning of the idea's inception. When you're listening, you have to bring in the whole context to really get closer to the meaning of things. Unfortunately, for most of us, our brain is not a knowledge machine. It's a best guess machine. Listening can be demanding and draining when the backstory is opaque and unclear. But the backstory is the critical link between fragments and connections, frustrations and understandings, the obscure and the obvious. So what Trimboli is explaining here is that the context of a person, so what is their background, is really important whenever we're talking about a story. So let's say here, for example, you went to war. Going to war, you lived experiences that nobody ever lived. You see things that nobody has ever seen. So when you come back here, you go through what we call PTSD, post-traumatic syndrome. Okay? And what happens here in this situation or in this shock is that your body is reminded, or something reminded them exactly of what you saw during war. It could be just a gun. It could be the sound of a gun. It can be a person running. Whatever that can connect you to the past will greatly affect your mood and your emotions. So, if you're talking to a person that's gone through war, and when he or she speaks about guns and they start trembling, well, because you know the context, you know that they went to war, you'll better understand them and better be able to communicate with them. And that's the whole point of understanding the context. Unsaid. So that's the 4th layer. What are the things that are unsaid? Great listeners focus on what is unsaid. Trimboli explains that meaning emerges in the silence between the words. Trimboli further clarifies that people normally do not complete their full thoughts on their first explanation. He says, speaking is like the rinse cycle of the mind. When you say something to someone else, it crystallizes what you want to say and how you want to say it. It's unlikely that you guys say what you really want to say on the first time you say it. Even a washing machine has multiple rinses or rinse cycles to ensure everything comes out clean. When someone says something the first time, it takes them multiple attempts to fully explain their thoughts. When someone takes a pause in their speech, you must treat it like a word, and we must notice if it's awkward, deafening, intimidating, or a pregnant pause. Also, we must take notice if the breath is affected, and if it is, we must dive and explore the breath pattern to understand the speaker. So it's very easy sometimes when you listen to people, especially when you're dealing with kids, sometimes you're going to listen to every word that they're saying. And sometimes if you've worked with kids, you notice that what their words are saying is not at all telling the full story. So sometimes certain people are introverts, some people are extroverts. For most introverts that I know, and this can happen also to an extrovert, but for most introverts that I know, they have a really, really hard time in fully explaining something on the first time or the first roundabout. So you gotta continuously ask them, what is the deafening sound? What was the pause? You have to listen to all these synchronicities, all these little actions that they do during their speech to fully understand what they're saying. And sometimes we often listen because we're in a world of capturing one's imagination at all times, right? Sometimes the words that are unspoken are the words that are most powerful. And that's exactly what he's explaining in this layer. Meaning. What is the meaning? In this final chapter, Trimboli points out that the words hold on to emotions that hold meaning. He specifies, Feelings and emotions create a rich and nuanced signal toward meaning. Listening for a speaker's meaning requires great presence when you are sifting through the words and thoughts while noticing their feelings. Feelings and emotions create a rich and nuanced signal toward meaning. When you are listening for meaning, elevate your perspective. Expand your viewpoint in the discussion beyond the participants. When you listen to meaning and not words, opposing ideas and views can coexist and cooperate. So in this last layer of a good communicator, meaning is very important. For somebody saying that they're worried, for a person that's super anxious or has very high anxiety, saying that they're worried can mean that on a stress level from 1 to 10, that they're at 11. But for somebody that's more level-headed, or for somebody that doesn't have to deal with maybe stress or anxiety and they say they're worried, it can be just a stress level of 1 or 2 or 3, depending on who the person is and depending on what the word worried means for that person. Some people worried saying I'm worried just means they're overthinking it. For some other people saying worried means that they're definitely scared. Now, what are the skills and tricks that can transcend the traditional listening action? Number one, we're going to go through the 125 for 100 rule. So what is the 125 for 100 rule? The 125 for 100 rule can enhance your listening skills. This rule states that while we can listen to 400 words per minute, people can only speak 124 words per minute. This discrepancy can lead to distractions during a conversation. To help someone get to the point, ask them to elaborate or simply remain silent after they pause. Listening is a skill, a strategy, and a practice. By developing this skill, we can create positive change in our homes, workplaces, and the world. So, in this simple rule, the 125 for 100 rule, so every conversation that you have, if you try to just speak a minimum of 125 words while listening to 400 words, it can massively improve your conversation and the flow of it. Number 2, focus on physical features. To stay focused on the conversations, it's very easy for us to get out of track. Sometimes it can be somebody painting in the background. It can be music. It can be many different things. In that case, Trimboli says to focus on something physically about the person. So if you're having a hard time focusing on what the person's saying, focus maybe on their shoulders, maybe in their eyes, eyebrows, maybe it's their hair. But keep the focus on their physical bodies. Like that, you'd be more ready to be in person and more ready to be living the moment and actually having a full-on conversation with that person. So what are the different actions that we can take to become a better listener? Okay, I will give you 5. Number 1, okay, what are the different strategies? Not the different action, different strategies that you can take to become a better listener. Number 1, with your trust workplace listening buddy, practice note-taking during conversation. Every 2 or 3 minutes, capture one word, phrase, or idea each. Number 2, who is the best listener you have ever seen? Think about it and write down on paper what is the one thing they actually do. Number 3, during a discussion with another person when meeting each day, ask any of these questions and anything else, say more, tell me more, what else? By asking these continuing questions, people will open up and they will get more time to fully express themselves. Number 4, during a discussion with another person, ask the speaker, do you mind taking me back to when you first noticed this? So remember when we spoke about context, right? Or content, we always want to go back to when is the first time this person experienced this whatever they experienced, or just bringing them back to when or what does this word actually mean for them, for you to fully understand them. Take a longer and deeper breath when your attention strays for an extended period. So when you see that your concentration starts going, okay, try to take deep and long breaths. In that position, when you'll be able to do that, it's going to calm your body and it's going to make you better focus in the conversation. All in all, guys, listening is an art that is difficult to master. Trust me. I'm 32 years old today. I own a gym. I work with about 60 to 100 people every day. And I'm trying to become a better listener every day, even though my ego is always telling me that I need to talk, that I need to say something, I need to break the ice. But sometimes the most profound conversation that you can ever have with a person is when you actually just sit down and actually listen to what they're saying. And not only listen, active listening, be engaged in what they're saying, listen to the content, listen to the context. It takes years of experience and hard work to perfect this trait, which is listening. With delicate focus, one can become a better version of themselves if they are truly able to better their sense of hearing. This trait will not only make you a better person, but will also help you in your interpersonal relationships and deepen the meaning of even the most basic conversation. So guys, these are a couple of footnotes, okay, of Oscar Trimboli's How to Be a Better Listener book. If you guys have any questions, okay, you can send me an email at fullbodyathletics@gmail.com, or you can write me a DM at fullbodyathletics on Instagram and also on Facebook. If you guys have any questions, please don't be shy. I am also a owner of a gym called Full Body Athletics. It's in the Montreal region. So if you guys are ever hearing about and you guys are listeners to the show, you can pass by. The first class is always free. We also have a trial month, and soon we will have a summer special coming in for the 1st of May. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Have yourselves a great day, great night, great morning, whatever moment you're taking to listen to me. I truly appreciate it. Be good, be strong, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.
1,